Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject.
I would like to continue.
And I would like to make clear that
we'll give you some time. I will get to it. Thank you so much.
The individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
Okay.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. The exchange you just saw is a perfect example of how heated political hearings can quickly become headline moments. Representative Ilhan Omar opens with a series of pointed accusations against then-Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, raising questions about potential conflicts of interest and the management of billions in taxpayer funds. At first glance, it appears to be a tough line of questioning designed to put DeVos on the spot. But as the conversation continues, the tone shifts. DeVos stays composed, responds directly to the allegations, and challenges the assumptions behind the criticism. By the end of the exchange, many viewers felt the questioning had lost much of its impact. We'll play the full clip first, then break down how DeVos defended her position and why supporters argue she successfully countered Omar's narrative. If you enjoy in-depth analysis of major political moments, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, countless news sources have reported on the conflict of interest that run rampant through your top aides, especially those advising you on higher ed and loan servicing. When responding to questions about these conflicts, you have failed to adequately convince Congress and the American people that these conflicts do not interfere with the billions of taxpayer dollars flowing from education to corporate interests. Today, I would like to better understand your decisions for selecting aides and ensuring that their conflicts do not harm taxpayers. Last May, 4 of my colleagues on this committee sent your General Counsel a request for information about conflict of interest surrounding your $2 billion next-gen loan servicing solicitation. Given that this solicitation is given, I would like some information about the team that's leading it. Does Dr. A. Wade Johnson, is he the one that's spearheading this solicitation?
Dr. Johnson is head of the Next Gen Initiative.
All right. According to New York Times investigation, Dr. Johnson was the founder and chief executive of a private student loan company, Reunion Student Loan Financing Corporation, before assuming his official role with the department. Is that correct?
That probably is correct.
Yes, it is.
Let me just interject.
I would like to continue.
And I would like to make clear that
we'll give you some time. I will get to it. Thank you so much. Dr. Johnson was also the executive at the two financial services companies, First Data Corporation and TSYS. Additionally, Dr. Johnson was hired at least one other TSYS veteran, Mr. Patrick Fox. Have any of Dr. Johnson's previous employers bid on elements of next-gen solicitation?
Congresswoman, all of my staff, all of my team at the Department of Education and Federal Student Aid has gone through their ethics process, has taken and takes their ethics obligations very seriously. We don't have conflicts, and we will not be conflicted. We have continued to have a robust screening process, and can stand and be very resolute about that.
So given that there is about $2 billion per year in taxpayer dollars flowing through this program, will you commit to releasing communication between the procurement team and any of Dr. Johnson's former employees?
So all of the procurement is walled off from the rest.
That would just be yes or no. Would you be committed to releasing any communication between Dr. Johnson and his employee.
Not to releasing internal communication, but the procurement team is walled off from the rest of the team, and the procurement process is very definitely prescribed as to how it has to happen.
That has not clearly answered my question. The federal acquisition regulations have a section on conflict of interest. It states, the general rule is to avoid strictly any conflict of interest or even the appearance of conflict of interest in government contract relations. While many federal laws and regulations place restrictions on actions of government personnel, their official conduct must, in addition, be such that they would not have no reluctance to make a full public disclosure of their actions. You seem to have reluctance to make a full public disclosure of the actions of the head of the department's largest single procurement team, despite there being obvious appearance of conflict of interest. How is your denial to release communication in line with extremely high conflict of interest standards that's required by federal law?
The individual you have referred to is not part of the acquisition or procurement team.
Okay. But we need the communication that is happening between the procurement team and the employers of Dr. Johnson.
That process is walled off from any other process.
Now that you've seen the entire exchange, let's take a closer look at what actually happened, because there's a lot to unpack. From the start, Representative Ilhan Omar's questioning appears focused on making a strong political statement rather than gathering new information. She opens with sweeping allegations, referencing reports and concerns about conflicts of interest without identifying specific evidence during the exchange. It's a familiar debate tactic. Begin with a broad accusation and put the other person in a position where they're expected to respond. She then narrows her focus to Dr. A. Wayne Johnson, highlighting his background in the private student loan industry before joining the Department of Education. The implication is that his previous experience creates a conflict. Supporters of DeVos, however, would argue the opposite, that someone with first-hand knowledge of the industry brings valuable expertise to a role overseeing a complex student loan system. Whether that background is viewed as an asset or a liability ultimately depends on your perspective. Throughout the hearing, Betsy DeVos maintains a calm and measured approach. Rather than matching the confrontational tone, she repeatedly points to the department's ethics procedures. She explains that officials, including Dr. Johnson, are required to go through ethics reviews and follow established safeguards designed to address potential conflicts of interest. Instead of debating individual accusations point by point, she keeps bringing the conversation back to the policies governing the department. The exchange takes another turn when the discussion shifts from allegations of direct conflicts to questions about the appearance of conflicts. Representative Omar references federal acquisition regulations and presses for additional internal communications, arguing that transparency is necessary to reassure the public. DeVos responds with what many of her supporters view as the key moment of the hearing. She states that Dr. Johnson was not part of the acquisition or procurement team responsible for awarding contracts. If that's accurate, it directly addresses the suggestion that he was personally in a position to influence procurement decisions involving former industry connections. From there, the discussion loses much of its momentum. Omar continues emphasizing public concerns about potential conflicts, while DeVos continues relying on the department's stated procedures and organizational structure. The two sides are ultimately arguing different points, one focusing on public perception and ethical concerns, the other on whether any actual procedural conflict existed. By the end of the hearing, supporters of DeVos saw the exchange as an example of remaining composed under intense questioning, while critics may interpret it differently. Regardless of where you stand, it was certainly one of the more memorable moments from that hearing. What did you think? Did either side make the stronger case? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.